Well, I know Catherine was.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to our Human Design and Gene Keys study group. This is Shelley Lickey and Stephanie Whitaker, and today we're going to be taking a look at the gates in the sign of Cancer and these are human design gates. And of course, we all know that the sign of Cancer is about emotions and um, paying attention to feelings and how we feel inside, but it's also has to do with feeling at home. It has to do with family, kind of mothering energy. Um, it's interesting. My husband is in the sign of Cancer, and he does have a mothery type of energy. Like he's has this even on the shop floor where he works. He has this little bit of a mother energy. People will look to him as that kind of energy on the shop floor, and if they don't know how to do or what to do or whatever, they seem to be drawn to him. So they're to get some help and guidance. So it's interesting to watch. You wouldn't think of a mother energy associated with a man, and a very, very manly man, somebody who's constantly building and, using equipment and using his muscles and his body and everything all day long, actually, and having this mothery type of uh, feel about them. So even the men can feel this way. It's not excluded. And it's actually a very beautiful, nurturing energy. So I think, Stephanie, do you have anything that you want to add to that? Okay. All right. So I think we'll just dive right in. And I'm going to share the screen and we'll look at the mandala wheel and see which gates are in the sign of Cancer. So we have our mandala wheel here, and we have gates 15, the second part of gate 15, then which is the love of humanity. Then we have gate 52, which is the mountain or keeping still. So this is deep inner calmness. And gate 39, which is the gate of provocation. And this can, of course, we all pull up images of being provoked. But any of these, the archetypal energies or storylines of each of these gates or hexagrams can be used in an uplifting, balanced way or in a negative, non-supportive way, which can feel quite uncomfortable. And I would say, even when they're behaving in their balanced expression, some people that aren't used to that energy could end up feeling uncomfortable as well, because it's, in this case of the gate 39, it could be provoking them to do better, provoking them to connect with spirit, inner spirit guidance or their inner spirit nature. So it could feel uncomfortable either way. Gate 53 is the gate of beginning, so starting a project and starting it correctly so you can actually finish it, but it's not unheard of for the gate 53 to start a project and stop. So like this would be an individual potentially that has started, they've got 10 books they've started and they're on page 5 to 10 in each one of them. And this is okay. Uh, but if you have gate 53 and you don't have gate 42 at the other end, you'll need to especially, well, either way, it doesn't really matter. The guidance here would be listen to your strategy and authority so that you can finish more projects that you start and not feel frustrated with struggling to finish things, whatever it is, whether it's an Afghan or a painting or a business or whatever. Gate 62 is the gate of express details, and it has to do with being impeccable with your work, being able to um, express yourself and express details clearly. And gate 56 is of the traveler and the wanderer. So this is the storyteller. Good morning, Lori. And the gate 56 is, I like to think of the gate 56 as the traveling bard. So to give a nice little storyline, hi, Lori. Thanks for hopping on with us. Good morning. It's nice to see you. So gate 56, I like to view it as the energy of the traveling bard. So like, years ago, the traveling bard would have his instrument. Maybe it was a, whatever little, I don't know what instrument. I don't think it was a guitar, but I guess they could have a guitar. I'm not visioning a guitar per se, but um,
I think it was called a lute.
a lute. Okay, thanks, Lori. Um, so they would go to one village, talk to all the villagers, get all the news, and then they would sing the songs from the previous village to that village of the news of what was going on. And then as they were walking to the next village, they'd put song to the stories they just heard in that village and share those songs in the next village, which would be the news, so to speak, of what was going on. So he would go around and share. So we'll talk a little bit more about each one of the little storylines of these gates as we move on. And we'll start here with gate 15. And I'm gonna, Lori, we're gonna be looking at, and of course, I don't know if you've looked at human design um, very much, but we're going to be referring to Shaitan Parkin's Book of Lines. And in the I Ching, so tell me, Lori, how much you have looked at human design, if at all. I know you've probably seen some of my posts, but
I actually got a 3 hour reading from you
yes,
because
it's been a while though.
yes, it has. And before that, she helped me print out readings for myself and for all of my kids. So I've got 9, 10, 11 charts.
Okay, beautiful. So you've been looking at it, seeing how people work together. And I think Rachel may have shot, you guys may have had conversation with that as well, you gals. So, um, all right, good. Then it's not foreign, and it's been a
Not
while since we have
really.
had conversation, and so I'm delighted to see that you're here with us today. So,
Thank you.
all right, so the gate 15 on I'm gonna hold this up here because in the group, in the book, Shaitan shows where it shows up. So it's in the 515 channel on the body graph, and it's part of the channel of rhythm. And let me see if I can hold this up here. It's in it's collective logic circuitry, meaning it has to do with supporting the collective, connecting with the collective. It's an energy for these two gates here. Let me look at my other book. The gate 15 connects with um, seasons, the seasonal changes and shifts. So moving from spring to summer to late summer to autumn to winter and on back around again through the 5 seasons of the Chinese I Ching. And the gate 5 at the other end of the channel has to do with like the sunrise and the sunset. So that daily rhythm, but the 15 has to do with the yearly cycle of the seasons. And so a person with 15 may struggle to find timing, correct timing, because the time cycle is so large and long. Good morning, Maris. It's so large and long. I'm going to set my keyboard up out of the way so that I can put my little tray in and come closer to the computer. That will make my life easier. Okay, so they may struggle to connect with timing and rhythm, but the 515 channel as a whole has their own rhythm and cycle. So, okay, go ahead, Lori. You had your hand raised.
Yeah, I'm just could you tell me what the spelling for your reference so I can look that up?
Or Shaitan's name, is that what you're talking?
Yes.
It's Chetan, and his last name is spelled Parkyn.
Okay.
And all three of his books are a really nice place for clear, simple beginning information for human design. If you got all three of his books and you just started reading it, mark in the margins like where each of your family members have their activations so that as you go through, then as you're reading it, you can relate it to that individual very easily. And when you refer back into his books, it's super easy to just find what you need in there because he's laid it out in a very logical, clean fashion. And then from there, if you get interested in other people's information like Jovian or Karen Parker's, or there's getting to be a lot more people putting human design information on Amazon in book form or teaching classes. So then you can sprout out from there. But I feel like Shaitan's information is a nice, easy, relaxed place to start human design. And you could just stay there, quite frankly, if you want to, but you know, looking for other people's information to add to it eventually, there's getting to be some very nice information out there that people are sharing for human design. And the next place I went actually was to Gene Keys um, because I'm more spiritually focused and it just was a natural place for me to go. But Richard's hologenetic profile doesn't have all the elements tied into it that the human design body graph does, like it doesn't have as many gate access points in the profile, but it's a very good information to add to and synchronize together. I just love putting them together. So anyway, if that's helpful information for anyone. And then, did you have any other questions, Lori? Okay. All right. It's nice to see you, Maris. It's okay that you were late. We were wondering where you were. We just we decided to just wing it and start. So, and then also here on the step astrology, and Lori, you might not be as familiar with this, but we've been studying Christopher Witecki steps astrology with the Serious Joy club. And right here, you'll notice, let me put it up closer. Part of the way through gate 15, we change from Gemini energy to the Cancer energy. So in halfway through this, the kind of stumbling on my words. The second line in the gate, we change to this feeling energy from thinking energy. So if someone is born right there on the edge, then they'll be uh, in the sign of Cancer rather than in Gemini. So anyway, it's just awesome to have an awareness of that. In particular, this is a good example. In my own family, I have two sisters born on the same day in July 22nd. And forever, we thought my one sister was in the sign of Cancer, the youngest one. But when I pulled up her human design chart and I started looking at the astrology, she's a step zero Leo, and they were born on the same day. So they've got gate 56, and we're going to be brushing up, talking about gate 56, the last gate in our conversation today. But she's a Leo, and here everyone was assuming that she was the sign of Cancer, and she's just not. And she does behave completely different than our other sister that is Cancer. And not only that, we learned from Christopher in the step astrology that the step 29 frequency is a master level frequency, is going to behave completely different than a step zero Leo. So this explained why the difference between my two sisters, why they behave so differently and have such a different point of view on the world because it will completely change everything. So it's very fascinating when you start looking at where the sign shifts in the gates, like which gate and which line actually, because the behavior and the feeling will completely change. So I'm going to bring up the other graphic here so that we can look at where gate 15 is. So it's here at on the self center in the lower part of the gate 15. And it's connected to the self center, which has to do with boundaries, with life, where you're heading in your life, where you feel you belong. So feeling comfortable with who you are. And the gate 15 in particular has to do with feeling comfortable in different groups of people. So say you are at a gathering and we went over this a little bit last week, but I'll go over it again. So in the case of the sign of Cancer, it would be feeling comfortable in different groups of people. So say you were at a gathering and there was one group of people talking about football and another one talking about trail riding their bikes and another one talking about crocheting and another one talking about maybe cross stitching and embroidery or something. And if you have gate 15, you may feel comfortable sitting with each one of those groups and being able to just listen or be present or talk about each one of these different subjects and feel accepted and comfortable there. So let's take a look at if any of you have the gate 15 colored in your chart, and we're not going to be focusing on whether or not it's unconscious or conscious activation. We can do that if you want, but if it's colored in or not, if it's colored in white, because it will behave differently. So if you want to um, just comment in the thread, or you can unmute yourself and say what your activation is in your own design, and then we can go over how that behaves for you in your lifetime, how it expresses for you. Uh, Lori, okay, so you don't have your chart. Let me see. Remind me how, like maybe I can look back. I'm not sharing my screen. I want to make sure. I'm going to pull up my software. Hang on, Lori, because you'll be in my client list. So let me find your chart. Here it is. Let me see. Your gate 15 is colored in white, but you have gate 15 is consciously activated. So what that means is that you will have a flexible way of connecting with other people and feeling comfortable in groups of people. Lori says, I figured the blank screen is more polite than eating food. Okay. I can't imagine your eating face. Okay. Eating food. You know what? It's okay. Whatever you're comfortable with, Lori. We're okay with you eating breakfast in front of us and joining in. So it's just fine. We don't want to have everything all strict here. We want it to be laid back discussion. So yeah, bring yourself as you are. I guess I don't know. I suppose somebody could show up in their pajamas even, I guess. I don't know. As long as they're covered up, we're okay. Need to be covered up. Okay. All right. Maris, did you have how does your Maris says she's in her pajamas. Oh, we would love to see her pajamas if you're comfortable with them. All ready for the evening. Okay, so Maris, how is the gate 15 showing up in your chart and your family's charts for you in your space. So let me see. Like, Lori, your self-center is defined as well. So yeah, so you're on a defined self-center. So you'll know who you are. When you're in groups of people, you'll have a flexible way of connecting with other people. Looks like Maris dropped off for a minute. You'll have a flexible way of connecting with groups of people, and but you'll know yourself and who you are inside of that group, whatever group you're connecting with. Here's Maris back. Okay, so Maris says there's no gate 15 activations in her family, in the charts in her family. How about you, Stephanie?
I don't have any gates in, I don't have gate 15 in any of mine that I'm aware of. I haven't pulled up my kids and don't have those with me, but my own, I don't have it activated.
Okay. It almost feels like tarot cards for some reason.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking at my cards, like, okay, where? No, no, keep it means.
Speaking of gate 15, I do have some cards here. This one I really like. And this is the I Ching. I don't know if you can see that.
I'm gonna do speaker view so I can see it. Okay, go
Okay.
ahead and speak.
Okay. So this card right here, this is coming. These cards are the Human Design um, gates, Rave I Ching cards. They have all 64 gates and lines. This is by Linda Bunnell. Bunnell, I think I pronounced that correctly. Yeah, the artwork on it's really great. But yeah, I write on mine, so I like to have information on them. But it has all the gates and stuff listed and each of the lines, which is really neat.
Fair.
Yeah.
Do you want to read the back, the comment to us, what she says on there?
Yeah. It says gate 15, it's modesty. The quality of behavior which expresses the proper balance between extremes. The possible extremes are lived out in life's rhythms. This is the gate of the aura. And it's got line 1 is duty, line 2 is influence, line 3 is ego inflation, line 4 is the wallflower, line 5 is sensitivity, line 6 is self-defense. Yeah. And I've got the degrees on there and the center written down. It's
Beautiful, beautiful. I don't have that card deck yet. I've been wondering about it. Thanks for sharing.
yeah, I really like them.
Yeah, it's beautiful. That's beautiful. Morning, Christina. And it looks like some Sophie is trying to get on here, but she maybe is having trouble staying on. Sometimes the internet connections are weird. So okay. Christina, I'm wondering how familiar you are with the human design system. You can unmute yourself or you can make a comment in the chat if you want. Or if you're just here listening and observing and
I'm not familiar at all.
you're not familiar with it.
At all with it.
Okay, all right, beautiful. Well, we're just going through let me share my screen real quick so that you can see a little bit what we're talking about and get a little bit oriented with it then. We are looking at, I'm going to show the mandala wheel. I'll back off so you can see it. So you can see the signs here. So we're talking about the gates, the human design gates or the I Ching hexagrams. These are the hexagrams, these little chop marks that are around the edges. Let me come in so you can see them. So each one of the gates have their own little signature, or set up in their image, and they have their own little archetypal story. And every month, the moon goes through its complete cycle of going through each one of these Looks like Sophie's having a hard time coming on. And as it proceeds forward, like the sun goes through all of the signs throughout the year, so it proceeds through each one of the signs, through Leo, Virgo, Libra, and so on as it moves around. And each one of these little gates, they carry a storyline that goes with them. And each one of them has 6 lines of expression. So the first line is the bottom line, then the second line here, the third line is the next one up, the fourth line, fifth, and sixth. And then as it moves through each one of those, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the clock ticks forward, it moves into the first line of the next hexagram. So then it goes through each one of those, tick, 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 and then moves on through each one of them again. So we're just today, right now, we're talking about gate 15, and we're just getting to visit about the gate 52. So that's where we're at there. And this is the Human Design body graph. And I've marked on here each of the gates that are in the sign of Cancer, which helps us connect with our emotional or awareness or how we feel inside of ourselves. The gate 15 connects with the seasonal shifts, how we feel as we move throughout the year, and has to do with the shifting seasons and changes. So that's the gate that we're talking about right now. This is the self center, what's called the self center. And in the human design system, really briefly, each one of these geometric shapes are called centers and can be somewhat associated with the chakra system. So over here on this little diagram, I've flavored it so that you can see the potential association with the chakra system. So this is the root center, and you can see it's got a root chakra color here. The sacral center can be associated with the energy of the sacral chakra. Not 100%, but it can, some of the elements can be brought over. The spleen center and the emotion center can be associated with the solar plexus chakra. The heart center and the self center can have an association, energetic association with the heart chakra. The throat center with that, and I'm having a little bit of a problem here. It's dry in the house. Just a sec. The throat center can be associated with the throat chakra. The ajna, or the mind center, can be associated with the third eye chakra. Crown center can be associated with the crown or head center. These are not the usual colors here. I'm able to color these the colors that I would like them to be colored in the software. I use neutrinos through Windows software, and you can find out more information about that at New Sunware Software. It's spelled NEWSUNWARE. Newsunware.com. It's created by Eric Memmert, and this is actually the first human design software that was used. It was the initial software that Ra used for the human design system. So that can kind of give you a brief overview of what we're looking at and the foundational energies of the human design system. So, and if you have any questions whatsoever, just let us know, Christina, okay?
Okay, my moon is a Cancer.
Your moon is in Cancer. So which
And 29 degrees.
29 degrees? So you'll be in gate 56. So the potentially, let me see. Since I don't have your chart, I wouldn't be able to say at what point. Like, it's at the master level degree, but I don't know which line expression it would be. That could affect whether you're a Well, you know what? It's going to be personal. It's going to be personal because um, my sister's a 4-6 profile. She has gate 56 and she's at step 29. So it'll be a personal profile. So it's the laws. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to mute myself just a second. Hang on. Alrighty. Had
Thank you.
the cough coming on. Yeah, so you'll be the theme of laws. So this is knowing what rules you are deciding to follow in your life and determining which laws you want to follow, like determining your own principles in your life. I've had this gate 56, this theme of laws come up a lot in the last, I don't know, a week and a half. So I've been really reviewing that and looking at it actually with a couple of people. So it's fascinating to have it come up another time. So we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to gate 56. But does anyone have any more questions about gate 15 at all? Um, my daughter has gate 15 activated in her design, and she does have a sensation of, so like we have 4 members in our home, and 3 of us have gate 5 activated, which is at the other end of the channel. So let me share my screen again so you can have an image of what I'm talking about here. So 3 of us have gate 5 activated in our charts. She has gate 15 and we do not, and she has gate 15 and she does not have gate 5. So there's this sensation of separation that she feels from the other 3 of us, which has been something we've worked at as a family to make sure she feels included. But the timing starts feeling off. So if you have family members that have one but not the other, and you have a hard time coordinating calendars, this would be natural. Do your best. The suggestion here is do your best to try to not feel frustrated with this and just work with the flow of the energy as it happens. If they're able to show up, great. If they're not, then great. Help them realize there's no feeling of fault or guiltiness or like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with you? Like, don't head there with it because that's not what this is. It's just they have their own timing and that's the way it is. And also, the other thing, Stephanie, when you showed that card to us, it is the gate of modesty. And for a long, long time, I wondered what that meant. And I do have our primer here. So if you're not on speaker view right now, maybe go on speaker view. I'm going to go to gate 15 in the primer because it does help us understand a little bit more of an element of why is this gate called the gate of modesty. This is because this is an individual that will have, um, somewhat of great good fortune in their life. They will have a tendency to have financial abundance in their life and accomplishment in their work. So the encouragement here is to remain humble and modest in their accomplishments and not flaunt their abundance, like getting overly fancy cars and saying, oh, look at me, look how rich I am. The guidance in this gate is to remain modest and humble. Like I'm aware of people that are super wealthy and yet they will dress like the rest of society does. You wouldn't know that they had a lot of money because they don't behave and they don't show themselves to have a lot of money. So this is what we're talking about. So here I'm gonna do my best to hold the book up here so that we can see it. Let me see. Get in the right place so the camera. uh, There you go. So hopefully you can see. And you can see that this is an individual standing on top of a mountain. He's having a modest outlook. He's not flaunting his success, and he's overlooking the day and seeing how things are going. So the description here, it says modest behavior greatens good fortune. Success must not bring arrogance. So this is humble humility. The name of the gate is Chien. Chien is depicted as a man of good fortune and few words, humble and modest in the presence of all the works of heaven and earth. Chien is a time when modest or silent behavior prevails, characterized by good fortune already in possession, and becoming greater when not ostentatiously displayed or arrogantly flaunted. Words are seen as having little effect on mankind, but one's deeds are visible far and wide. So he's standing up on that mountain. People can see that he's standing up there, and but he's not just, being ostentatious or arrogant. The Occidental idea of embarrassment or meagerness needs to be shaken off to understand this high virtue. So no need to feel embarrassed, no need to feel less than or um, or proud. Either direction, those are extremes in nature. So gate 15 also can be referred to as the gate of extremes. So staying balanced in behavior, humble and modest in one's display out in the world and within oneself. So it's a very, very beautiful gate to have the energy. Maris says, my mom and sister have gate 15, very humble people. Very nice, Maris. Thank you. Okay, so if it's colored in, then you'll have a consistent way of behaving in this gate and noticing what way that behavior shows according to the archetypal storyline we just talked about. And also, if it's colored in white, you'll have a flexible or inconsistent or varying way of connecting with the energy of this archetypal energy. Okay. All right, that feels complete. And let's go ahead and move to the next gate in the sign of Cancer. So we're going to talk about gate 52, and gate 52 is the gate of the mountain or keeping still. So this is an individual that has the ability to sit still for longer than most people have the ability to sit still. This would also be a person that maybe has a feeling of deep inner calmness about them. People may sense that about them. Both my husband and I have this gate 52. And since we have it gate 52 and it's harmonizing, it would be what's called a friendship gate for he and I in our relationship. So when people come around us, they get this sense of calmness, overall calmness and stillness when they're with us, and they will feel comfortable with that and actually be drawn to us because of that feeling about us. So this is a sensation that can happen, and it's mountain above and mountain below is the like there's two parts to a hexagram. Let me show the screen again. Inside of a hexagram, there's two parts to it. So you can see there's this lower section of 3 chop marks, and there's an upper section of 3 chop marks. And the lower trigram here is the mountain. You can see it's yin, yin, then yang. A yin line is the feminine, flowing, archetypal, open, receptive chop mark. And the yang line is the unbroken or male archetypal energy. So it's going out in the world, doing this type of thing. So, and the yin is more inner receptive energy. So you can see the pattern here. It's yin, yin, yang, yin, yin, yang. So you literally, if you wanted to take these, and I've played with this on a drum, you can drum or clap these as well. So this would be yin, yin, yang, yin, yin, yang. So you literally could play with the rhythms of these. And gate 15 is the gate, the channel is the 515 channel, the gate of rhythm. But if you want to play with these with your children, you could do that. So like gate 15 would be, so you could clap for each one of these little chop marks if you want to and play with them and notice how they feel. Like be playful, have childlike playfulness with the gates, and you can make images or pictures or whatever of how these feel to you, and just have a good time playing with the energies of them. So this primer that we're looking at, that I showed you, it is out of print, but occasionally you can find copies. David found one on eBay. I got this one off of Amazon, and I have seen ones in there. Um, they are old, like the binding has broken off of mine, so it's kind of separated, but the information inside is so valuable that I don't mind. I refer to it on a consistent basis and love using it. Copying the pictures out for your children to color, that might be fun as well, or yourself. Mara says, only my little one has gate 52 in an undefined center. When he is at home, my little one will sit still. At school, he can't. Okay. You know, being around the other children at school might be buzzing his energy field. So, um, and there's probably other activations. He might be getting distracted by other people, the other children's behavior in the room, or what's going on. There could be other elements with that happening. Does anyone else have gate 52 colored in their design? Lori, I'll go ahead and look at yours if you, um, let's see. Need to let the software adjust itself. Here we go. Nope, your gate 52 is colored in white, and your root center is colored in white. So you'll have a variable and inconsistent way of being able to connect with inner stillness in your life. So it won't have a steady or dependable energy for you. You'll have an undependable way of connecting with stillness, if that makes sense. So it will be flexible, very flexible, and finding ways of doing that for yourself, maybe like creating a specific space in your home, like you have a specific chair you can sit in and meditate and connect with deep inner stillness, and condition yourself to do that when you sit in that chair. If that makes sense. You can do that with any of the gates, like condition to yourself. So if any of the spaces in your chart that are colored in white, you're open to being conditioned, and probably was as a child. So that's what we're doing as adults, noticing where were we conditioned in the white spaces in our chart, because that's not the real you. You can choose. I like Jake Ducey's comment. I've shared some of Jake Ducey's videos in the Serious Joy Club Facebook group, as well as in our group in the Chiron. We changed it to Chiron Study Group. But his main thing is miracles are real, but also brainwash yourself before the world brainwashes you. Like this is all about us taking responsibility and taking charge of our own energy fields. So anywhere that's colored in white in your chart, do what you can to program your own way of being. I mean, Jake Ducey, he's saying, brainwash yourself. And really, that's what it is. And I think that's why I love the Vimala alphabet as well, because you can use the elements within the alphabet, from what she teaches us in this, and I will be getting this set up. That's why I keep talking about it. I absolutely love it. And Lori, I think I might have talked to you about that a little bit. So we can take these elements in and literally condition or brainwash our own selves instead of letting the world run us. And that can happen in those white places in our chart. If someone's a reflector, you can imagine their whole entire chart is colored in white, except for their activated gates. And so it can be super easy for a reflector to get conditioned and for a family to think there's something wrong with their reflector family member, when in fact, the reflector is just reflecting the family back to them. So it's very fascinating. We can get conditioned by our environment, but we can recondition ourselves. So Jessica, it's this book. It's called The I Ching, The Illustrated Primer by Barry Trosper. And it's very distinct. It'll stand out on Amazon. If there's one listed on there, if there's one showing and it says it's unavailable, click on it, put it in your wish list. And then Amazon will maybe send you an email that says when there's one available. So then you can hop in there and grab it before somebody else does. Because it's worth having, really, sincerely. Okay. All right. Very good. Do you have any questions about this conditioning thing or gate 52 and how it might be? Hey, nice, Jessica, score. Very good. The glue is old, of course, because it was probably printed clear back in the 70s, possibly. So I might go ahead and just put some what's it called? Hot glue down the spine and get it glued back together. So because the glue is old, it will crack apart. So with use. Anyway. All right. Okay, let's go ahead. Stephanie, do you have any comments or anything? I did not turn to gate 52 in. Let's look at it in the primer, etc., and see feedback and the card. Do you have the card to share with us, Stephanie?
I do.
Okay.
All right. So let me back it up some.
I'm going to put it on speaker view. And I'm going to mute.
Okay. So there's the card. I don't know if everybody can see that without the glare. It's beautiful mountain there. And there's the rave teaching, wrong side. There we go. The I Ching there. And the back, of course, like I said, I write on mine. And these cards are, here, let me hold this one up, the box. So you can see 64 gates. Yeah. And it says here for gate 52, keeping still mountain, temporary and self-imposed inaction for the benefit of assessment. Concentration benefits from stillness and withdrawal. A passive rather than active energy. And it has the lines written on here. Think before you speak for line 1. Line 2 is concern. Line 3 is controls. Line 4 is self-discipline. Line 5 is explanation. Line 6 is peacefulness. And it has, basically it's inaction, focused and channeled energy. There we go. So, yeah, these cards, I really like them. It really helps me. They're more like study cards, from like flashcards. And I'll just kind of sit there and go through them myself and, read them and look at them and other things. Like I'll write down the center that it's associated, that it's located in, as well as the astrological degrees, because I have to have those, as well. So it helps me learn them. But yeah.
Very good. Yeah, it is helpful to know what the step.
Yeah. I had I got those cards before I got my book of lines. So it's like they really had come in handy. So now I got my book of lines. So it's kind of like I can put them together and yeah, it's great.
Yeah, yeah. So it's nice to have Shay Tan's book because he puts all of the step astrology and everything at the bottom. Um, and then also he shows the channel. So it's the channel of concentration because at the other end of the channel is gate 9, which is the gate of focus or focusing on the smallest details. And then also it's in the collective logic circuit. So it has very logical mind awareness and connecting with, you know, society, and it is for society. And then also the step astrology, it goes from step 3 through step 9. So, in the sign of Cancer. And again, remembering this is a feeling of deep inner stillness. And because it has to do with the sign of Cancer, and my camera is freaking out, apparently. Let me see if it'll. Oh, my goodness gracious. Okay. All right. So, because it's in the sign of Cancer, it has to do with this emotional flow of deep inner stillness. So there we go. Yeah, that was so funny. Okay. So let's see. In the primer, it says he's got the description, stopping and remaining still in the appropriate time brings no harm. So it shows a man at the base of a mountain with his horse and he's pausing. Oh, just a sec. Guys. Oh, alarm going off. Okay, so he's standing there and looking at the situation and feeling into how the mountain either looks, or maybe he's trying to traverse the mountain and he's looking at how am I going to do this? You know, how do I get through this mountain pass or whatever it is? It almost has a chilliness about it, even though this gate occurs in the middle of summer. I don't know. To me, it kind of, but maybe it's just because it's cold outside right now. I don't know. But yeah. Did you have a comment, Stephanie?
Yeah, I think it's more of a basically a contemplation.
Yeah.
You know, it's the inaction is you're contemplating, you're sitting in stillness and just listening to your own heart and your own emotions before approaching life ahead of you. You know,
Hmm.
there's obstacles and stuff. So to me, it's more of a, observation,
Okay.
self-observation is how I look at it.
All right. I'll go ahead and read his little short description here. It's the name of the hexagram is Ken, Ken. Ken is depicted as a wise traveler who has stopped or checked his progress and remains stationary until the circumstances again justify his activity. Ken is a time of stopping or checking activity and remaining still and silent, characterized without fault or harm when done at the appropriate time or under the appropriate circumstances. This hexagram warns of remaining alert to the times, detecting when a stop is required before going too far. The time of beginning anew follows, so there is no need to fret. So trusting that the energy will get going again at the appropriate time. And the example I can share with my husband and I having this energy is there's times we'll say we're traveling in the car and we're traveling for hours. We can travel for hours and not say a word at all to each other and just feel totally comfortable. Now, a lot of people are very uncomfortable with that extent of stillness. They think they've got to be talking or doing something. But my husband and I, we have this ability to be able to sit in calmness and stillness with each other. It's very nice, actually. And yeah, so that's a way it can show up as well. So, and also, there's times where we're sitting in stillness or we're sitting and sitting and sitting, and all of a sudden we'll both sense that we need to get up and start doing whatever it is, get ready, get dinner ready or whatever. And it's very uncanny. We'll have that feeling at the same exact time. Like as soon as I'm getting up to move to go to the kitchen, he's running up the stairs to go to the kitchen. Um, it's kind of interesting what can happen. So noticing these little patterns when they come up in your life. So, okay. And let's see, anyone have gate 52? Like how is the gate 52 showing up in your charts for you? Is your root center colored in, defined? Is that gate colored in or not? We looked at Lori's. Lori's is colored in white on both aspects. So having a flexible way of sitting in stillness and pausing. Christina, I guess you're new to this, so you wouldn't have your chart yet. You're welcome to go to my my website and request your chart, Christina. Let me see. I'll give you the link. Put the link in here since you're new. I'm just going to give you the front page of my website. It's super easy. You can see where to request your chart. I'll just put this in. Okay. So that you can have your chart for next time. Because I'll send your chart to you this week. All right, and one little issue that I'm having come to my mind when requesting instantaneous charts, either from a Human Design app that's in the Apple Store or the Google Play Store or online, if it's different than the one that I send you, you can go back to that other app if there's information that you want, then either add or subtract an hour because that app may not be taking into account daylight saving time properly. So daylight saving time was enacted in 1975, and some of these apps do not take that into consideration. So you might get a chart that does not match the one that I emailed to you. The one that I emailed to you will match the Serious Joy membership as well as genetic matrix. So if you want to double check on genetic matrix and request your chart there, you can do that as well to make sure that the chart you're receiving is the correct time for who you are. So anyway, I finally found a consistent way people can double check. So if you're getting different charts from different apps, go to Genetic Matrix and request from my website as well and make sure they match that. If it doesn't, add or subtract an hour until it does. So then that will give you the chart that is correct for you. Alrighty. Okay. Let's go ahead and move to gate 50. Well, not gate 52, gate 39, which is the next one. And gate 39 is the gate of provocation. And this could look, at the lower expression, like mean teasing, like just being naughty that way. As children, we may have experienced that from a sibling or, generally we view boys as doing things like this, but girls can do this as well, have mean teasing. But the higher expression is to provoke ourselves to our higher spirit nature. So we want to keep moving and prodding and poking ourselves toward connecting with the divine. And the gate 39 is right here on the root center, on the right side. And you can see it connects with gate 55, which is gate of spirit or the gate of abundance or the gate of faith. So you can see here at the foundation, we're provoking ourselves to our higher spirit nature. and it moves on up and bridges across to gate 22, which is the gate of grace through spirit. So trusting that we're always taken care of and all things are provided, and this is here the channel of openness. So being open to receiving grace and expressing that out in the world. So you can see how each one of these just kind of flow into each other and help support the expression of our inner spirit nature. So at the high expression, that is gate 39 in a nutshell. So let's move to gate 39 and look in your chart and see how it's activated. I think, Lori, let me look at yours real quick. Yours, gotta wait for my software to adjust itself here. There we go. Your gate 39 is colored in white. And of course, your root center is colored in white. So you will have an inconsistent and variable way of working with this energy. And we'll look a little bit more at the storyline in our primer as well. Shaitan, he says, this is the gate of provocation or hardship. So this is an energy of finding a way through obstacles of all sorts and opening you to challenges that promote personal growth. So it has to do with provoking yourself to inner self-growth. Like it's an individual gate, it's in an individual circuit, individual knowing circuit. So it has to do with our inner nature and provoking ourselves from inside ourselves. And because it's a sign of Cancer, it will have an element of that, mothering ourselves into our higher spirit nature, if you will. You can literally parent yourself from that mother energy into connection with higher spirit nature. And I'm going to have to say, I'm going to pull this up again here, this image. And when we look at it, this would be gate 55, because the emotion center is the feminine flowing spiritual nature. The spleen center is the male archetypal energy of the physical, being in the physical, surviving, survival, our immune system, going out into the world. And this is our inner spirit nature. So, this is a connecting with that mother flowing energy. And for some reason, this was just highlighted for me. For some reason in the past, I viewed this as a male archetypal energy, but it just is not. This is divine spirit. I don't know. We could say, in our religions, we say Holy Ghost, but maybe that's what this is. I don't know. Maybe if any of you want to share what you're having come to you regarding that. But this is a feminine archetypal flowing energy. If we want to say it could ideally be connected with the sign of Cancer, because it is that, has that feminine emotional energy. So anyway, that was interesting. Stephanie, do you have anything coming to you for that?
Well, I have got my design south node
Okay.
on 55, line 5. So to me, it's like I would definitely say, the divine feminine energy. It's definitely a spiritual line. I think what balances it is, when you're at the 39, it's more of you're facing hardships, but you have to look at how you face it. Are you facing it gracefully? Are you going with your beliefs on how you're reacting to those hardships? Is how I would view that channel, personally. But yeah, it's pretty much the way that I see it. But yeah.
Well, since it's in your south node, you're very experienced with it. So
yeah.
Very valuable what you just shared with us. Maris says, no gate 39 at all in the house. Okay. So you'll have a flexible flowing, variable, and inconsistent way with working with the energy or the archetypal energy of gate 39. And for Lori, that is for you as well. Jessica, do you happen to have your chart in front of you that we can help you understand that for yourself as well? If not, that's okay. No, 39. Okay, so that would apply as well for you. So in my household, my brother has the 3955 channel, and my dad had the 3955 channel. And so this is an energy that I've had in my space. And growing up, a little bit troublesome from the brother direction. A lot of teasing and a little bit of mischief there. You could think of like in the fairy energy kingdom, maybe a trickster sprite or a leprechaun teasing, you're not sure what's going on. So if we want to look at it from the mystical fairy kingdom, that could be a trickster sprite or a leprechaun. So anyway, because you wouldn't know, oh my gosh, what's going on? Kind of playful, but could turn mean, in the right circumstances. So being careful with this and respecting that energy. The gate 39 from Shaitan's book. So here we go. So you can see the channel here is in the channel of emoting. So it's feeling all the emotions and everything. This is a very emotional channel where someone could actually have the potential of getting in the doldrums. As Anne with an E would say, she's in the depths of despair, right? Anne of Green Gables. So this would come, that's an ideal expression for this potential here. And the guidance here would be for someone that has this complete channel or one of these gates, if you start feeling sad and depressed, this is actually a natural part of your emotional wave, okay? It's not something to just go, oh my gosh, I've got to go, do know if you do need some mental help with that, then go get it. But understand this is a natural part of your emotional wave. Be patient with it. In a minute, it'll change. And what you can do to work with this channel, the energy of it, is take up some art, some artistic expression, and dive into that when you're feeling in the depths of those doldrums or despair, as Anne with an E would say, to just take up, like, get away from everybody else's energy field, feel what's going on inside yourself, let yourself feel it, cry it out, whatever it is, and doodle or paint or finger paint or whatever it is, slap paint on a wall. You see these pictures of an artist and they have this enormous canvas and they're just splattering paint. This could be a good activity, and just let it out. Like sometimes this ugliness or these deep, sad feelings can be turned into a beautiful piece of artwork. And not necessarily that you need to share it, or maybe it won't turn out beautiful. That's okay. Stephanie says music and dance can really help too. Yes. Like move and flow with the energy of everything and just work it through your system and see if that can be helpful. Also, the step astrology here, it goes from step 9 through 15. So starts out in the first decan, which connects with the energy of inside yourself. So it has to do with yourself, but then it moves to energy that's going on in your environment and with your relationships with others in your environment. So, okay. Mary says, I love music. I love to sing. Okay, so you have the gate 55. So yeah, that can be helpful to move that energy out. Whatever artistic expression helps you do that the most. You can just even sit down and scribble. Um, Neurographic art is a nice way. So you can, let me see if I can remember this gal's name, Lana. Let me pull up my browser really quick and look on Facebook. Um, so you can find her. She has very good beginner instructions for neurographic art. Lana Shalom. Um, Let me find her link on Facebook so you can connect with her. She has a nice, easy way of walking you through processing out emotions using Neurographica. And on my Facebook page, my personal profile page, I have some samples of neurographic art that I did, and it actually is super helpful. You can send her a friend request or whatever, or comment on her YouTube videos, and she generally will reply back. Um, and there's other gals that are doing the neurographica as well, but hers is a very good place to start if you're struggling with emotions that you need to get processed out. So basically, in a nutshell, you start out with connecting with an emotion or a situation you're really struggling with, and you take up your pencil or your pen. It's just it's a Sharpie that they have you use, but then you yell or scream or whatever it is. You could go out the car if you want to, so your family doesn't get alarmed, and with your piece of paper, and you think of that, and then you do that. You just yell for like 5 seconds or whatever and scribble out onto the page, and then go back into the house if you went out to the car, and follow her directions on how to make that in um, more like process through the emotions of whatever it was that you drew out onto the page. So it can be quite cathartic and very helpful to release emotions and process them in actually a very nice way, relaxing way. And it's amazing how it can help process that out. Mary says, I will watch her page. I think it can be very helpful for me. Yeah, I've found it to be very helpful. I'm heavy on the emotional definition in my design. And if things are, we all know if mama ain't happy, nobody's happy. And so it's very good for us women in particular, especially if we have children in the home or we're in a relationship with someone, that we take time to process out these emotions for ourselves. So, okay, let me see. Let's look at the primer on gate 39.
I'm going to jump in here for a second.
Yeah, go ahead,
Uh,
Stephanie.
yeah, Maris made a comment that she's also very emotional and she hates it. And I'm just going to jump in here and just say that you should never hate that you are emotional, because that means you have a heart and you're very caring. And sometimes we carry more, yeah, exactly. We carry more power within our emotions than what we realize. Um, that is the most powerful motor I think that we have in life is our emotions. It's learning how to take those emotions and utilize the power in a positive, productive way. But that's something you should never hate. At one point in time, I used to hate it when I get sad or if I got angry or, and I started to where, okay, I got to embrace these because it is part of my experience in life. And I would use anger in a productive way. I started house cleaning. Of course, I got Mars and Virgo, but yeah, I'd get angry and I go on a cleaning spree and I feel better. And my whole environment around me feels better. So there's ways to tap in to use those emotions in a positive way. So just yeah, I look a lot of us women clean when we get angry. It's like scrub and yeah. And that's something, it's a positive thing. It's a use of energy. It's burning energy for something that is, wonderful for everyone, not just yourself, but, people that come into your space and in your home environment. So yeah, don't hate it when you get emotional. Be very happy and glorious that you're emotional, because that's your power, sweetie. It's a power source. Go ahead, Jelly.
I would agree. And Lori says emotions are power. Yes. And so using them rightly or correctly to have a positive result is the best thing. Now, when I was a teenager, and our hormones are off the charts when we're teenagers, but I would have moments where I would be laughing and then I would be crying. I mean, like tears, 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 and then go back laughing and then crying, and then the whole family is just laughing hilariously because here I am flying back and forth, trying to understand how I'm feeling and getting overwhelmed by all the emotions that are flooding through with the hormones, I'm sure. But even it's been a while since I've done that. But there's occasions where if I feel silly enough, if my husband has said something off the charts, ridiculous, I will still end up heading in that direction. It's just so funny. And also, I don't know if any of you have this experience, and maybe this is my spleen center is completely wide open. I don't even have any gates reaching towards it that are activated. So m- there's not very many people that have that set up. So I want to show you what I'm talking about. But like I literally have this same setup on my chart. So there's no gates that are activated reaching towards that spleen center. So I can feel what's going on in everybody's bodies. So it's really quite crazy. And then there's some people that have the same setup for their emotions center. So being aware of those kinds of things can be super helpful. But what I've noticed is if my son thinks that there's something really funny, I can feel in my body where he's feeling that. He, I can feel it up here. And it's this like little almost delighted, jumpy feeling, like inside my chest right here. And then when my husband thinks there's something funny, I'll feel it down here at the top of the solar plexus chakra. And it's not quite the same sensation, but it's hilarious. And then it will make me start laughing and then if we're all three together and I'm feeling them in their joy, then I just start laughing because I can feel this sensation. It just makes me feel all giggly and everything. And then my husband has his cousin. Um, when all of us are together and they start laughing and they have this particular laugh, I can feel that in it's like I've got all these sensations going on in my body. And so I'll just break out in laughter because I can feel their laughter sensations the way my body senses that laughter sensation. I'm hoping I'm making sense. But maybe you can understand if, through your own experience with family members and start noticing how some of these energies feel when you're around them. So, yeah. Okay. So, did we did not look at the gate 39 in the primer. So let's go ahead and do that. The gate, I'm going to read the description first, the short one. The difficulties associated with a personal restraint or injury, limping. So this is the storyline of, I'm going to read the storyline first, so we can get the feel for it. It's named Chien, spelled Chien. Chien is depicted as an injured or limping traveler progressing along dangerous cliffs with capable help approaching. Chien is a time when difficulties associated with personal restraint or injury impede or hinder progress and is characterized by good fortune when persisting to overcome difficulties. So he's patiently moving forward and waiting for help to arrive, particularly when with capable help. This hexagram is referred to as limping, and the Chinese character itself symbolizes a frozen foot. So there's the image. So you can see there's two men approaching on a horseback, coming his direction to help him on his way. And he's been proceeding for however long he has been on his own, the best that he can, and trusting that help would arrive on the scene. So eventually, help is coming from a distance. So there we go with our gate 39. All righty. And did you want to share the card real quick, Stephanie?
So here's, try to make it to where it's not glaring. They're very glossy. That's one thing with the cameras, is it's very glossy. But it looks like with the picture itself, it kind of looks like this little fishy, which, is kind of like, you think of water signs anyways with fish, and it's just surrounded by darkness, and it's just kind of sitting there, contemplating, what's going on. It's looking for an awareness of expression, in my opinion, is what's going on there. But yeah, the back, it actually says the value of obstruction in provoking analysis, assessment, and reevaluation. And it says the journey is toward spirit. And it has line 1 as disengagement, line 2 as confrontation, line 3 is responsibility, line 4 is temperance, line 5 is single-mindedness, line 6 is the troubleshooter. So yeah. And that's the card.
All righty. Thank you, Stephanie. Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments or ahas or anything regarding gate 39? Okay. All righty. Well, let's go ahead and move to our next gate in the sign of Cancer. The next gate is gate 53, and this is the gate of beginnings. So this is like starting a project. It's the first sprouts or the shoot coming up from the soil of starting things new. So anytime you're starting anything new, you can look towards the gate 53. The gate 3 has a similar aspect, but it's more transmutational. And gate 53 is actually physically starting the project for the benefit of the collective. And the number one thing here is make sure that you enjoy the project. Listen to your strategy and authority before beginning so that you have a higher potential of actually accomplishing the goal in mind. And gate 53 is right down here at the top of the root center. Now, the gate 53 is the energy of starting things, but the gate 42 is the energy of finishing things. If someone has this entire channel completed in their design, it's called, these 3 channels here between the sacral center and the root center are called format channels. So that means it's kind of like your computer operating system for your body graph overall. It will affect everything in your life if you have one of these 3 channels, format channels defined in your chart. So you want to make sure that you're honoring whatever the theme of this is. And the theme for the 4253 channel is cycles, beginnings, middles, and endings. So you want to make sure that when you start a cycle, that you complete it all the way through before starting a new one. Else you'll get overwhelmed and have all these things sitting around everywhere that are unfinished and causing overwhelm and stress And that's definitely not what we want. So yeah, there we go. All righty. Okay, Stephanie, do you want to show us the card for the 53?
Sure. Like I love this card. It's so pretty.
Oh, nice. I like the colors they're using.
Yeah, I really liked it. And it says here, it's the gate of development. It says development is a structured progression that is both steadfast and enduring. The intensity to start something one moment will fall away the next. Wait for clarity. And it says it's the transition and change. Line 1 is accumulation. Line 2 is momentum. Line 3 is practicality. Line 4 is assuredness. Line 5 is assertion. Line 6 is phasing. So, yeah, that's the card there. Yeah, I love the artwork on these. They're so pretty.
All right, beautiful. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm going to turn to the 39 here. So how is the gate 39 showing up for everyone else here? Chris said, I made a mistake. Sorry, Cancer is my rising sign at step 19 and Uranus, Cancer 3 degrees. Okay, so that the third degree there would be clear back. That would be in gate 15. So that one's the gate of, Chris, that is the gate of love of humanity. And then Cancer, rising sign, step 19. That's the gate 53, Chris, the one that we're looking at right now. So that is either line 5 or line 6 in the gate 53. Okay, so you'll have a fixed, more dependable way of starting projects if your gate 53 is colored in. And Chris, what I'm hearing from you, as far as I can tell, you have that defined in your body graph. Okay. And you have gate 15 activated in your body graph as well. And then Mara says, my two boys have them in an undefined center. Okay. So root center colored in white. So that's flexible, inconsistent, and varying way of getting things done and getting up and doing things. And that will affect how they start things. So waiting for the energy to do things is super important for gate 53. Don't try to make yourself get up and do something until the energy pulse is there to do it. So it's like what Stephanie was sharing, when you want a powerhouse through the house cleaning, then you have the energy to do it and get up and do it while you have the energy there, because maybe this afternoon it won't be there. That energy pulse might not be there. And it might be a few more days until it is. So take advantage of it. Okay, let's see. Chris says it was good. It was a good thing in many ways. Okay, maybe that was from a comment. Chris, can you tell us what you were referring to? I didn't see that right when you made it, so I missed the timing on that. Jessica said, I know someone who has that channel, but often will not finish. Listening to the strategy and authority of your type is super important so you can finish your projects. Because if you have that entire channel and you're of a habit of not finishing, then you're not honoring your design. And you will get a bunch of things started and not finished, and will just not only drive yourself crazy and overwhelmed, but other people in your environment will feel it as well and might get cranky about it. So yeah, listening to our strategy and authority before we start project is super crucial to finishing the project. Not guaranteed still, but it will help you pick projects that will be able to be finished more often. Stephanie, you had a comment?
Yes, I'm actually sitting here looking at, of course, Karen Curry Parker's workbook. I love this book. Like I said, I've got several books out over here, so I kind of like reference here to there.
Yep.
She's got the life lesson here for Gate 53, and it says, learn which ideas are yours to start, and trust that you'll attract the right people in the right parameters to accomplish what you set out to do. Be gentle with yourself if you do not always finish projects. Give yourself permission to learn from the process. See your ability to begin something as your gift, not your weakness. When unbalanced, you might feel desperate or frantic about bringing all your ideas to fruition. You might beat yourself up for not finishing what you've started, or feel shame or guilt whenever you can't follow through. But you always want to remember that, starting things is your gift, and just learn what you can through that process. But I love, how she wrote that in there. Just wanted to share that.
Yeah, and that's particularly if you only have the 53. So if you've got the entire channel, then you'll want to pay either case, you want to pay particular attention to your strategy and authority. But you'll finish projects more often by listening to and following your strategy and authority, whatever that is for you. Yeah.
Yeah. This is one that I actually I struggle with at times. I don't have Gate 53. I have both that channel. There's nothing, highlighted. But I do struggle. I'll start things and then not finish them. And I've just got, okay. I actually started Chiron's Toolbox, which is kind of that's where kind of the Chiron study group came from, to be honest. I started it back in like 2012. And, it was just, I go for a while, then I'll do something else, because I'm off on these different vast topics studying for myself, and it's like I'll get in an arena of thought and I'm going with it. So turning into a study group was actually, genius, because that's the way my mind works. But yeah.
Beautiful. Okay. All right. Is there anyone else? Did we address everyone's Gate 53 expression in their own design for them? So if the root center is colored in white and the Gate 53 is activated, there will be an inconsistent way of getting up and doing stuff and starting projects. If it's on a root center that is defined and it's colored in, then there will be a dependable, fixed way of getting up and doing things and starting projects. If the root center is defined, it's colored in, and the 53 is colored in white, then the 53 will still have an inconsistent, varying, and flexible way of getting up and doing things, but you'll have a dependable way of getting up and doing things once you decide to get up and do things. So, yeah, there we go. All righty. Lori, yours is not colored in. So the 53 is colored in white and your root is colored in white. So you'll have a flexible way of starting projects. And I know you do projects all the time, you and your husband. So busy, and listening to your gut response. And you're a busy person all the time anyway, because that is your design. But listen to your gut response and follow that. And then that will help you start projects so that you actually end the ones that you start that are correct for you to be doing. And also, if you only have the Gate 53 activated in your design, then it's not necessarily you finishing the project. It might be you starting it and somebody else picking it up and finishing it. For example, I was given a bunch of my grandmother's embroidery needlework, and she started a bunch of things, but she didn't finish them. And so I've been able to fiddle with them over the years and finish some of it. So just because we start something doesn't mean it's wrong or there's something, incorrectly done if we don't finish it. Maybe somebody else will finish it later. So, Stephanie, go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't think that I had anything at that gate. Actually, my Juno is at gate 53. So yeah,
Okay.
I do have something there. Yeah.
Do you have the step astrology on it?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay.
Um, I think it's step 7, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's step 7.
Well, that's kind of cool.
But it's also right on my IC. So it's like, yeah. So it kind of makes sense on why I struggle with that sometimes.
Okay. So what's the archetypal energy of Juno, though? What does that represent?
Basically it can be a lot of different things. It's more of a in Cancer, it's more of a desire for connection, as far as emotional, and a strong sense of, nurturing, in my opinion.
Mhm.
But yeah.
Okay, cool. And if it's at step 7, then that's spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, spiritual nurturing. Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, Lori says, I have so many things I want to do. I don't understand bored people. Yes, and nobody will be able to keep up with you, Lori, because you have all of that active gate in that busy, busy area in the body graph. So understanding other people are not going to be able to keep up with you. They're not going to be able to do all the things that you do. And that's just the way it is. Yeah, because they're not gonna be able to keep up. You can go, 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 go like the Energizer Bunny. And other people just don't have the ability to do that. So it's just not part of their life. It's part of your life. And understanding that will help bring understanding. Why is that person just sitting on the couch, or why are they taking a nap again? Or, all of these kind of things. Lori says, except I can't keep up with my husband. Maybe have you in his design, does he have the 2034 and the 57 and 10 and everything colored in on his body graph? Here, I'll show the example here. So what we're talking about is this gate 34, the 20, the 57, and the 10 right here. All of this is the 2034 in particular is busy, 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 busy. The more busy than you don't even realize how busy you are. So if your husband has this defined as well, then you're just busy, 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 busy people, and they will not be able to.
I know his the crown one
Okay.
is defined, I
Okay.
think, and I think also his root.
Okay. All right. Maybe he just knows when to get up and get
Nee,
going.
ik ga even avondeten.
Maris, did you have a comment?
Nee.
Okay. All right. So yeah, he might just have a knack for knowing when to get up and get busy. And he being in your presence, it might give him the impetus to get up and get going. So then even if he doesn't have this here, he might be reflecting your energy field in your design when you're together. So, and he's using that to get things done. That's a potential. So, okay. All right. Jessica says, me too, Lori. I used to think like that, but some can be frozen and comes out as boredom. Yeah, sometimes people just need to sit down and rest. Projectors, reflectors, manifestors in particular, that it might just be sit down time, and pushing them too hard or trying to get them to get up and work and do stuff when their body says it's time to rest could actually cause them to become ill or out of balance somewhere. So
I see sit down time as different than feeling bored.
okay, boredness in the chart, the archetypal energy of feeling bored comes from gate 35, which we talked about last week. This is a gate that's in Gemini, in the sign of Gemini. So the shadow frequency in gate 35 is boredom and hunger. So knowing what you're hungry for, because you're bored. Like your children might come, Mom, I'm bored. What can I do? My response to my children was, go find something uplifting to do. Figure it out, because I'm not your entertainer. So you go figure it out. It's not my job to figure out how to get you unbored. So there we go. Maris says, ha ha ha. Oops, no, I was talking to my son. That's okay, Maris. Everything's cool. Okay. All right. Let's look at gate 53 in our primer real quick so we can get an image of that. The name of this gate is also Chien. I don't know how, how the wording in the Chinese works or whatever, but this one is also named Chien, and it says gradual progress and development for growth when obedient. So this is like following the flow of sunrise, not sunrise and sunset. I was bringing in the 5, but the flow of how things go. If you look at, and maybe this is part of it. Maybe I was hitting on something intuitively. See how the 53 and then it flows up. Well, actually, no, that's not correct because it crosses over. Does it cross over there? Yes, because this crosses over. So this is in the abstract sensing circuitry, and it crosses over, the flow crosses over, comes up here, and it crosses over again up to the 4764. So the flow, it crosses over here. So this is abstract sensing. It's more of an artistic flowing energy, and it's not logical. This is not a logical expression. This is the logical side, gate 52, and it flows up this way. So all this timing, the seasons and the sunrise and sunset, it makes sense. It's steady day in, day out, year after year, and comes up here. But this gate 53 is abstract sensing circuitry. It is collective. So it says gradual progress and development for growth when obedient. Qian is depicted as the gradual development and growth of trees, as well as progress in movement, relating here to a flock of geese. Qian is a time of gradual progress and development relating to growth, characterized by good fortune when firmly applied principles which express proper consideration towards others. This is related to obedience of the natural order. So there is a little bit touch of the like the seasonal stuff here. This hexagram also portrays the happy and successful marriage and warns against self-interest, which would work against this favorable time. So consideration of all, not just oneself. Like starting this project, how's it going to affect everyone? Oh, let me stop sharing. How's it going to affect everyone moving forward on this project? So the geese, as we know, they stop at the ponds, but when they're migrating south or north, depending on the season, right? According to what's going on. They stay together in a group. It's a collective thing. So it has a peacefulness to it, actually, in this image. I like it. Stephanie, do you have anything that I guess we already kind of get lost when we get in these conversations. I'm a Gemini. I'm a little airy-fairy. Oh, Stephanie had to go into the door. Okay. All right. I think we're finished with the 53 is we've gone over energy of that, I feel like. So Jessica says, I don't mean resting or a child's boredom, but more of a lustful for life leading to boredom. Okay, that is a good point, Jessica, because let's look at the energy of this where boredom can take place. Because notice how it connects up here to the gate 56 in the flow. Gate 56 is the gate of stimulation as well. And this leads us to the gate 56. I believe it's the next one in the sign of Cancer. But when someone's bored, they might start looking for stimulation, food stimulation, gambling, driving fast on the highway, having a big car, driving in a convertible, wanting stimulation, and um, looking for a way to satisfy that hunger of boredom, being bored. So thank you for bringing that up, Jessica, because it added another element on there. So that's something to be aware of as well. Listfulness, yeah, like what shall I do? What do I want to do? All that kind of stuff. So getting clear on what you're truly hungry about, and satisfying that hunger in an uplifting, healthy way. Giving yourself healthy rewards for good work done. When I was homeschooling, and Lori, I believe you did some homeschooling as well, with your family. Yeah. What I would guide my children to do is to self-evaluate, not expecting someone else to evaluate them. I even had them check their own work. And if they weren't being honest with it, it would come back and, nip at them. And then they'd have to go back and do their work again. And they knew that. And so I wanted to train them to be able to do that for themselves when they became adults. And as far as I can tell, that worked. They're both in their young adult age. My son is 30 and my daughter's 26. And training our children to check themselves, to self-evaluate on their own and stop looking outside themselves to another authority to tell them if they're right or wrong. Have them check their own work. If they're doing their handwriting practice, have them decide what I had them do. This is a good example. I would have them do their handwriting. We didn't have the VMLA alphabet at the time, but I still did the same thing. After they wrote their little essay or their page that they were working on, I would have them go through and circle where they could have done better, letters that they could have written better, like formed them better, but then only pick one or two of those, not a bunch of them, just one or two. And then pick like 3 to 5 where they felt like their letter formation went well, that they drew that letter well on the page. Like, where did that happen? So they were evaluating a job well done, but also where they could have brought improvement without any guilt or shame or whatever, that happens with such things in our environment, in our society. So training our children to self-evaluate, circle where they did well and make it twice as much as where they needed improvement, but make note of where improvement needs to take place, whatever the subject. It doesn't matter what the subject is, where they can improve, and then help them take steps towards refining that and improving it so that over time they can, avoid some of the challenges that we see happening in society, that can be caused by looking to an outer authority to tell them what to do. So, yeah, to become self-governing that way. Some people might think, oh, that, with homeschooling, you should have been checking. No, that was their business, not mine. I even got self-teaching Saxon math books, guys. I did not teach them their math. They are amazing. They're amazing. They went through those math books by themselves, problem solving and everything, check their own things. And at one point, one of them, it caught up to them, but they hadn't been honest in their lessons. And they started crying. And I went over, asked them what was going on. They described that they had not been honest in their checking their answers. And I said, so what do you feel like you need to do? Well, I need to back up in some lessons. And I'm like, okay, how many do you feel like you need to back up? I felt like this was a little drastic, by the way. They said 20, and I was like, okay. then do that. I was not going to interject. If they felt like they needed to move back 20 lessons, that was a lesson learned. It was all worth the time. And they would agree right now if they were on this call with us. So I let them govern themselves and give themselves that self-ruling and take care of it on their own, even though they were only 8. So when we allow our children to govern themselves, it will only bring benefit for them and everyone they associate with out in the world. Even though I felt like that was a harsh judgment, I let them handle it and take care of it on their own. So letting them do that is very important. Will only bring benefit long term. So, and they're being very successful right now, by the way. I'm very pleased with the result of what we did. And I know that many parents are not able to do that, but I sincerely am so grateful we took the path that we did. And it has been of great benefit for our children. So that's my project that I started. Gate 53. I have Gate 53 defined, and I feel that it's gone well. So, of course, that project is ongoing. They're my children. And the result will only show the proof is in the pudding. My work is already done. I finished my portion of the project, and now they get to take it and move forward from there. And so far, I'm absolutely delighted with what I'm seeing. So, yay. I'm grateful I can honestly say that and share that with you. So, okay, let's move forward to our Gate 56. I believe it is the last one on our side. Oh no, we have Gate 62 and 56. Oh my goodness, you guys. Do you know what? Let's pick up our Gate 56 next week with Leo, because we are 5 minutes to the hour. Let's go over Gate 62. And Gate 62 is the gate of express details. This is an individual that would collect a lot of information together. If they only have the Gate 62 and not the 17 at the other end of the channel, then they may struggle to get those details collected together so they can express them. But if they have the Gate 17 as well, the entire channel, then this is an individual that would be able to organize their thoughts and deliver them clearly with impeccability. So I have a great knack of doing that. My husband has this channel, and I so appreciate his ability. And I know that the business where he works, they appreciate it as well, and they pay him for that. They appreciate his ability to organize and take care of things on the shop floor. So the Gate 62 is here at the top of the throat center, and it's about expressing finer details, the most important details that need to be expressed, and doing that in a very clear way. So if you want to either hop out, just unmute yourself and let us know your Gate 62, how it's defined in your chart. And Lori, let me look at yours real quick. You have it colored in white, and you have an open crown center and open mind. So you have an open way of receiving inspiration and an open way of thinking. When you have a completely open center like that, you will have a tendency to pick up on other people's inspirations, whatever the theme of that center is. But in this case, for Lori, you'll pick up on other people's inspirations, what inspires them or what they're thinking about, and you'll think that it's yours and that you've got to go do something with that. But if you wait, get out of their energy field and wait a couple of hours, that energy will clear out and you'll be able to come back to yourself. So in this case, Lori, how do you know what truly inspires you? And how do you know what you're truly thinking and have on your mind? In your journals, like keep a journal and make note of what consistently inspires you over time and what you're consistently thinking about as an individual over time. Like you can even draw from clear back when you were a child, what totally delighted you as a child and still delights you. For example, for me, handwriting. When my mom showed me how to draw my name on the chalkboard when I was 4, I thought I had gone to heaven. And I still love handwriting in the same way to this day. So look for what that is part of my inspiration. So look for that thread, that golden thread of what's showing up consistently. And that goes for any of the centers. Long term, over time in your life, whatever the theme of that center is, whatever's happening in your life, notice what that is. That's for you to, that's what you're here to play with regarding that center. And also, Ra mentioned that when you have an open center like that, it means you did all that work regarding the theme of all those gates in that center in a previous lifetime. You don't need to be playing with it or worrying about it here this time. However, you will, because it's open. So you'll think that it's your stuff to play with, but it's really not. What you're here to do is all the colored in spaces in your design. So that's what we're wanting to focus on. Okay, so gate 62. Gate 62 is part of the 1762 channel, which we already went over. And the step astrology is step 20 through, what does that say? 26. It looks funny on my screen. Yeah, step 20 through 26 in the sign of Cancer. And so it's at the master level, meaning it's forward looking. It wants to see what's happening in the future, which matches the gate 17. The gate 17 can be associated with the right eye. And it's all about what's coming down the road, looking to see what's coming down the road. And it's really fantastic, the body graph, how it comes together so seemingly magical. Oh my goodness, like it's super amazing when you start looking at these archetypal energies and how they come together. So Jessica says, my throat and ajna are defined, but I don't have either gate. Okay. All right. Okay. So if your gate 62 is colored in white, then you'll have a flexible and inconsistent way of expressing details of whatever it is that you're interested in, whatever you have on your mind. If it's colored in and activated, you'll have a more consistent way of sharing what's on your mind. And the guidance here is to wait until someone asks you to share those details. Then the ones listening to the answer will, you'll have a greater potential of them appreciating what you're sharing. It's not guaranteed, of course, but the potential will be greater. Mary says, only my little one has gate 62 in a defined center. So, okay, so the throat center is defined. So they'll have a consistent way that they like to share what they have going on up here in their thoughts. Jessica says, I'm even surprised at what I say sometimes. Yes, it can come through. Just somebody asking you a question, and then you can share details that maybe you didn't know that you had coming to you. And that, Jessica, if you do like intuitive readings like tarot or whatever card you like to use or whatever, you could have expressions of details coming through that you weren't aware of as well and get ahas from that. Okay. All right. So, Stephanie, would you like to share your card real quick? And then we'll look at what's in the primer, and then I think we'll close for today.
Sure. Okay, so here's the card. I think that's probably the best I can get it without the glare. But it says preponderance of the small. Caution, patience, and detail produce excellence out of limitation. The fixing of names is the foundation of the Maya and for sharing the human experience. And it says manifestation through detail. It has line 1 is routine, line 2 is restraint, line 3 is discovery, line 4 is asceticism. I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly. Line 5 is metamorphosis, and line 6 is self-discipline. Yeah.
All right. Beautiful. That's a beautiful picture. That's really awesome.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, the colors they've chosen are very beautiful for those cards. Okay. All right. So gate 62, the description that Barry Trosper offers here in the primer, he says gentle behavior predominates and small endeavors work advantageously. Okay. So it shows a couple of men. They are hunting hawks, it looks like. Let's see. It says the name of it is Xiao Kuo. It's spelled Hsiao, Xiao. And then the second word, Kuo. Xiao Kuo is depicted as the bird ascending into certain peril without conscious regard of the danger. So we're focused on the hawk does not realize it's being hunted. Xiao Kuo is a time when small issues in behavior, undertakings, and material wealth predominate. It is characterized by great good fortune when it is recognized that descending or holding, rather than ascending, is required to produce satisfactory changes or transitions. It is of the opposite effect of Ta Kuo, which is gate 28, or the preponderance of the great. So I think there's a little bit of Chinese I don't know, archetypal energy going on here that I'm not fully understanding. Stephanie, did you get a picture of why the hawk would want to descend? Because if he descends, then these gentlemen are going to shoot him with an arrow. It seems like he would want to ascend so he's not killed. So let me see. I'm going to hold up. Maybe you guys can get a feel for it. What the image is showing us. So it's the opposite of gate 28, which is preponderance of the great, and 62 is preponderance of the small. So the small detail compared to the great detail. Interesting. But see, gate 28 is the fear of dying. So this is a fascinating thing they put together here. I'm not sure I understand it. Go ahead, Stephanie.
So I am in Karen Curry Parker's workbook again.
Okay.
This is my go-to when I'm not quite sure or understand something. This is my go-to right here.
Okay.
I absolutely love this book. It has listed as the life lesson is master the process of being prepared and trust that your knowledge of how to be ready and how to pivot is the only thing you need to know. Glean enough experience to trust you'll know what to do. You'll know what you need to know when you need to know it. When it's unbalanced, you might let worry cause you to expend exhausting amounts of energy being ready for all possible outcomes, including worst case scenarios. So basically, it's just, have faith. It'll come to you when you need it. Don't waste your time, thinking about the worst possible case scenario.
Okay. I'm wondering if the hawk in this position, he is holding his flight level or flight path, knowing there might be danger below, but he can move quickly in case of danger and get out
of it.
If he needs to get out of the way and trusting that. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jessica has some more. It says, I don't. So you mean you don't have the 62, Jessica? You have the 1333 store info. Don't really think about it, but when asked, it comes out. Okay, yeah. Okay. Oh, we were talking about channeling information. Is that what you mean, Jessica? Okay, Jessica said I don't know anything about the tarot. Yeah, I don't use tarot cards myself when I do readings. I use a bunch of like I haven't brought out my fairy cards yet. I've not checked to bring them out yet. Maybe they'll come out to play. But the ones we've been using has been Human Design and Gene Keys themed or what can be brought into it. So yeah. Okay, very good. Very awesome. Okay, so the throat is manifestation theme. It's what we're manifesting and expressing in the world. And if it's defined and colored in, we'll have a consistent way of manifesting through whatever gate activations are on the throat. If your throat center is open and has no gates activated on it, you're here to express on behalf of others in a very flexible, open, and inconsistent and varying way. And if it's undefined and has at least one or more gates activated on it, then it will express through the voice of those gates, and depending on who you're hanging out with as well. So Mara says, thank you so much. Shelley and Stephanie, have a good weekend all, and see you next week. Yes, thank you, Maris, for being here, and everyone. Thanks again for a card reading, Shelley. It was mind-blowing. Very good. I'm grateful it was helpful. All right. Thank you, everyone. I noticed there's been some people popping in and out, and I'm grateful for having you all here. And we'll have the same study group time next Friday morning, and we'll be looking at the gates in the sign of Leo. And Christopher Witecki has a namaste to date this evening. It sounds like he's going to be talking to someone during Astro Mingle that will be lovely to listen to. She says something about she's got Chiron focus in her astrology, so that sounds yummy. And then oracle readings on Wednesday evening as well. So those announcements will get put in the group so you can see when to join the event. And we just love to have you join in again. It's been very lovely. So thank you so much for being here. And thank you, Stephanie, for being here with us as well. Let's see. Jessica says, enjoy the weekend everywhere. Yes, thank you. Chris says, thank you. Chris says, Christopher is how I found you. Yes, very lovely. So that's what we want to have happening. And if you know anyone who would love to come into the group and share their gifts, card reading, crystals, I don't know. Lori, you might know somebody who would love to come in and play in the group as a moderator. Just let Stephanie or I know so we can get a hold of them. Lori, did you have a comment you wanted to say real quick? No?
No, I was just opening it to say thank you again.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. It's been good to see you. So, okay, lovelies, you have a nice weekend and we'll see you later. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.